Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Evans. I'm a full stack developer and I can build applications with Python, C Sharp, ASP.NET, Java, Django, JavaScript, and some other frameworks and technologies. So today I'll be talking about version control and why it's important. Now, I want to talk about version control because it's one of the tools that we're going to be using in this my tutorial series. So, like I've been saying all the time, we're building um, a robust and dynamic web applications, web application that have the functionalities of Uber, Airbnb, and Booking.com. And the stack that we're going to be using is Python and Django, vanilla JavaScript and jQuery. We're going to use HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. We're going to be using version control. We're going to be doing Ajax programming, payment gateway integrations, API integrations, and Django, Celery, and other advanced tools and technologies that we're going to be using. So I've decided to make this video on version control before we continue, so that I want to be uploading the project as we're building it in the different series. I want to be uploading the projects on GitHub so that in the event that you run into issues, you can just go to my GitHub account, check my code, compare it with what you have, and then you'll be able to debug your errors, and fix it. And version control is one of the essential skills that is required as a developer. Yeah. Now, as you know, you can't just get an IT role with just an empty CV. Most recruiters and employers, they will want to see what you've done, and one of the best way to show your skills is by showing them your project on GitHub, which we're gonna be managing with version control. So I'm gonna be teaching you about version control, and some of the things I'm gonna say on this video, I've said it in my previous video, but I'm just gonna repeat it again. So now, what is version control? Version control is an essential tool for any form of IT collaboration. We use it to collaborate in projects, and it ensures that team can work together smoothly. Now, as a developer, you will be working alongside other developers. So in your team, there may be front-end engineers, back-end engineers, and so on and so forth. So you can use version control to collaborate with your team, and even if you people are not in the same country or the same area, you can work efficiently with version control. You can use version control to track and revert changes. Now, some of the language and terminologies I'm going to be saying, you're not going to understand it as a beginner, but as we progress and we do some practical stuff, you're going to understand it over time. So yeah, so don't just worry too much. So whether you are a solo developer or you're a part of a large team, understanding and using version control systems such as Git is crucial. It is crucial. It will ensure that you build applications in an error-free way. Now, version control is also known as source control. So if you hear source control, know that it's the same thing as version control. It's also the same thing as revision control. So you can use it to manage and track changes to files over time. So these files can be your source codes, it can be your document or any set of data. Now, version control is not just for developers alone, or is not just to upload your codes. No. You can also use it to save your documents, store your documents. So some students that I've trained today, if they want to send their CV to recruiters, they don't send MS Word copy. Rather, they just send a link, to the recruiters, and then they just click and download and see their resume. So after this tutorial, you can upload your documents, to GitHub. You can upload your files. You can upload your project as well to GitHub. Now, they said any document that you don't have in two places is as good as you don't have it. So if your documents are only on your local PC, anything can happen. Your system can crash one day, your system can be stolen, the files can be deleted. But when you upload your documents and your source code on GitHub, then you know that you've mitigated against such kind of loss. So yeah, in between 2012 and 2016, I built a lot of applications with C Sharp and ASP.NET. That was the first language I started with. No, I started with Java, then I just switched to C Sharp, after I had mastered Java. So I built some applications. And then back then, I stored all my applications on my hard drive. One day, my hard drive got stolen, and that was how I lost all the applications that I've built. So up to today, I've not been able to build some of those applications again with C Sharp, because as you know, building of application takes time. Some application I spend a month to build it, some 3 weeks, some 4 months, some 2 months. I lost everything, so I started building everything again from scratch. And then some of them I have not had the time to build them again up to today. So if only I had uploaded my files on GitHub, I would have had my source code intact. So yeah, that is it. So now the primary purpose of version control is to maintain a complete history of changes. It allows multiple people to collaborate on the same projects without conflicting with each other. Now, it is also important because some IT jobs, the recruiters may want to see what you build. So this tutorial series that we're building, as I said, you can use it on your resume, and then through version control, you'll be able to upload it on GitHub and then show it off to potential recruiters. If you want to be a freelancer as well, maybe you want to register on upwork.com, freelancer.com, and other freelance sites, you can definitely, when you bid for jobs, you can use it to show the people, the project owners, so they will know that you have the skills. So yeah. Now, you can also show your skills by hosting your web applications. Maybe you can host it on AWS, you can host it on Python anywhere. You can host it on any other cloud hosting platform uh, uh, um, out there, but then it's gonna cost you some money, so you're gonna be paying for hosting charges every month and all the rest. But with GitHub, you don't have to pay such amount of money, and sometimes showing off your project to recruiters through GitHub is more authentic, because anybody can get a link of any web application and then send to recruiter. It doesn't mean that you are the one that's built it, but when you send your GitHub link to a recruiter, sometimes it's more authentic. Yeah, so that's it. Now, in version control, there are some key concepts um, that you should know. So I'm not going to go very high level. I'm going to go as low level as possible so that you will understand, because I know most of my audience don't have any experience, don't have much experience with programming. So I want to make it as simple as possible. As we move along, as we begin to do more high level stuffs, I'm gonna still come back to this topic, version control, give more explanations and all the rest. So, but for now, I'll just keep it very simple and in a way that you can get started with it without getting you confused. So, there are some key concepts in version control. We have repository or short form repo. So that's number one. So a repo or a repository is a storage space where your projects and its complete history of changes are kept. So take for example, you have an estate, you have maybe you have an estate and you have a warehouse somewhere. So that's like a repository. You have the warehouse where you store bikes. You have a warehouse where you store vehicle. You have a warehouse where you store maybe mobile phones. So each of those warehouses is known as a repo or a repository. So if you create a warehouse to store vehicles, it's your repo. That's how it is. So on GitHub, when when we start a project, you create a repository for that project. So you create a space for it in your account where you store that particular project. So that is the first key concept in version control. Repository or repo is a key concept in version control. Then the second one is commits. So a commit is a snapshot of changes made to the repository. So each commit has a unique ID and usually include a message describing the changes. So when you want to make any commit, you put a message, and if you don't put a message, the commit command will not even take effect. So when we go into the practicals, you will see how it works. And then we have branch as well, which is another key concept in version control. So a branch is a separate line of development allowing you to work on a different feature, or it enables you to fix maybe something without affecting your code base. So for example, you're building a mobile application and yeah, you just want to try out something new. Maybe you integrated your mobile application with, let me say, Google Pay, for example, and then you want to also try out maybe Apple Pay, for example. So you create a branch for that your project so that you try your changes on that branch and leave your main code base so that if you make mistakes, it doesn't affect your main code base. So you can try out new stuff on your branch. Then another key concept in version control is merge. So merge is combining changes from different branches back to a single branch. So when you've tried, the new concept or the new stuff that you want to add and it's working fine, you can now merge it into the main branch. Then the next key concept we have is checkout. So checkout is like switching between different branches or commits in your repository. Then we have another key concept in version control, which is push or pull. So this command, you can use it to upload and download changes from a remote repository. So yeah, those are the key concepts in version control. And now, what are some of the importance of version control? I've mentioned a few before, but I'm still gonna go over it again. So it enables for collaboration. So multiple people can work on the same project simultaneously without overwriting each other's work. So yeah, version control system will help you manage and merge these changes efficiently. So you're working as a developer, some people in your team, maybe front-end developers, you can have multiple back-end developers and all the rest. All of you will just work together, and then you make changes, to your own code base, without affecting what the other person is doing. So another importance of version control is history. So it gives you a detailed history of changes, who made what and why. It's like having an audit feature. So who made these changes? Why did the person make these changes? Now, this is an invaluable tool for debugging and understanding the evolution of your project. So today now you added something, but tomorrow there is an error. You can go to your version control system, you see the history, you see who added this, why did the person add this. So this history can enable you debug your applications efficiently, and you know how this project was built, the history. Then another importance of version control is backup. Now, I told you what happened to me, how I lost my hard drive and I lost all my projects. I built on Java, JBoss, C Sharp, and all the rest. So, yeah, each copy of your repository is a complete backup. Now, if one system fails, the repository can be restored from any other copy. So now another importance of version control is branching and merging. So you can work on different features, in isolation. Now, whenever you finish working on the feature that you want, if everything is all right, before you can merge them back into the project, then it's another importance of version control is for reverting changes. So you can make mistakes. When you make mistakes, it's like, one of the best feature of Microsoft Word is undo and redo. So the same thing is applicable in version control, where you can make mistakes, you can undo your changes, or you can revert back to previous changes if necessary. Then another importance is let me think. Okay, code review as well. Changes can be reviewed before they are integrated into the main code base. So there are senior developers, there are mid-level developers, there are junior developers. If you assign or delegate a task to a junior developer and it does it, before you merge the changes, for example, you have to review it. You as a senior developer, you have to review it to make sure that he did it according to the specification and its changes are working in line with the project requirements. So yeah, and then the last important is um, automation and continuous integration. So with version control system, you can integrate your you can integrate with other tools for testing, for deployments. If you want to deploy your application on most of the cloud hosting platform, you have to upload your code on, let's say, GitHub, for example, and then from GitHub you can now move your files to your cloud server where you can host it. So yeah, this is why version control is important. And then we're gonna be using some tools, for our version control. So we're gonna be using Git Bash and GitHub. In my previous video, I've talked about steps on how to install Git Bash. I've talked about how Git Bash is important and all the rest. So you can go back to my previous video and watch all that, but I'm just gonna repeat the same again. Now, for version control, we'll be using Git Bash and GitHub. These are one of the most popular tools you can find in the programming world. But then, yeah, there are still other platform that you can use for version control, such as GitLab, we have Gitbucket, we have Azure repos, we have AWS code commits, we have Gitkraken, we have launchpad, but you don't need to know all of that. Just Git Bash and GitHub is okay, which we are going to do. And once you know Git Bash and GitHub, the other ones, they are just similar. They are similar, yeah. So to start the practicals, we're gonna install Git Bash first. So if you've already installed Git Bash from my previous video, just skip the installation of Git Bash. So go to your web browser and then you can just type Git Bash, Git Bash, Git Bash. The code, the URL is git-scm.com. So yeah, so this is the URL. I'm just gonna copy it and paste on my notepad for you. So git-scm.com/download. Even if you don't know this URL, you can simply go to Google and type Git Bash. Git Bash. You're gonna see it. Yeah, this is it. So you're gonna see it. So one way that you can learn programming efficiently is by repeating your action. When you watch my videos, you go and do it over and over again until you master it. And you must have a note. Your notes can be on paper, physical paper, or you can have um like you can just create a notepad, on your computer or MS Word document to take notes, because if you don't, you must surely forget. Yeah, so um, when you go to the URL, if you're using Linux or Unix, you click on this, or Mac or Windows. But for Windows, just come here and click download for Windows. So I'm just gonna click download for Windows. Yeah. So when you click download for Windows, it's gonna tell you click here to download the latest version. So I'm just gonna click on this one, click here to download the latest version. So it's gonna download. Then when the download is complete, simply click and install it. Click and install it, say yes. So click on next, click on next. The folder Git already exists. This is because I've installed Git Bash previously, but I had to install it so I can show you again. But if it's your first time, it will not give you this prompt. Otherwise, it's gonna give you this prompt. So just click on yes, and then just leave the default configuration the way it is. Yeah, and click on next, click on next, click on next, click on next, 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 next. Just click on next on, and then the final point you click on install. So it's gonna install. Just give it some seconds to finish the installation. So my installation is complete now. I'm just gonna click on finish. So that's it. So how do you know if Git Bash has been installed? Um, if you open any folder, just gonna close this. If I open my project folder, right click on an empty space, you will see open Git GUI here, and you will see open Git Bash here as well. So this means Git Bash has been installed successfully. Now you can perform your Git command using Git Bash, or you can perform it on your VS Code terminal. So I'm gonna show you the both ways. If you've not installed VS Code, you can watch my previous video. You'll see in one of the videos I've talked about how to install VS Code. If you already have VS Code, you don't need to worry. Now, the next thing we have to do is we have to create an account on GitHub. So this is complete. Git Bash has been installed. So create an account on GitHub. So yeah, this is what you do now. Go to your web browser, and then I'm just gonna type GitHub. So this is the URL. I'm just gonna type it here. Yeah, http://github.com/login. You can, even if you omit this login, it's still gonna open it. Github.com is gonna open it. Now, I have an account already, but I'm just gonna use a different email to create another GitHub account for the purpose of this tutorial. Now, go click on create an account. Create an account. And then it's gonna say enter your email. Yeah, I'm just gonna get my email now. My second email. So I'm gonna enter my email, and then you click on continue. It says create password. So I'm just gonna create my password. Password will be compromised. It needs a strong password. This is fine. Now, I'm just gonna keep my password. Let me not forget. Doesn't matter anyway. Um, so when you put your password, you click on continue. Username. I'm just gonna use a username Evans book on Evans app, for example. Mm, So I've selected the username. I use Evans app 22, and then I click on continue. Then just click on continue now. Now it's saying verify your account. So yeah, it's gonna send you a verification link to the email address that you used. So yeah, protecting your account. Please solve the puzzle so we know you are a real person. Just gonna click on verify. Use the arrows to rotate the object to face in the direction of the hands. So you're just gonna solve this puzzle. I think yeah, it's like this, yeah. And then click on submit. Now you're almost done. We sent a launch code to my email address. So I'm just gonna check my email address. So yeah, this is the code. Now copy this code and put it here. That's it. And then you can now sign in back again to your account. So you can see my password and my username. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna use this account. I'm just using it for training purpose. So put the email. You can use the email that you used or your username, and then click on sign in. So when you sign in with your username or your email and the password, it's going to ask you some question. How many team members will be working with you? You can choose whatever you like. Just click on just me. Click on continue. What specific features are you interested in? So yeah, just click on collaborative coding. Hmm. Click on community. Um, Automation. That's all. Just doesn't matter. Yeah. Then uh, go for the free account. Click on continue for free. Yeah. So we're ready now. Now this is my account. Now, like I said before, for each project, you have to create a new repository for each project. So for my explanation, I told you that if you are into, for example, warehousing, for example, and then you are into supply chain, let me use that. You're into supply chain, and you have you want to store vehicles, for example, and you also want to store bikes in a different location. Each of those warehouses is known as a repository. So you create a repository for your different projects. Now, for this project that we're working on, which is um, Ride and Book, this app that we're building that is gonna have the features of Airbnb, Booking.com, and Uber. So we're gonna create a repository for this project. Now, I'll go to my GitHub and click on Create Repository. Now, repository name, put the name that you want as your repository. And you can just call it advanced web app. Web app. Yeah. Now, if the name is available, it's gonna show green and tell you advanced web app is available. Or I can simply call it the name of my project, Book and Ride. Book and Ride. Now, the next section is description. So just give a brief description of what the project is all about. This is important so that when you share your link with someone, the person can easily know what the project is all about. So a web app that has the functionalities of Uber, uh, airbnb.com, and booking.com. This web application will be built, developed with Python, Django, Javascript, jQuery, HTML, CSS. We're gonna use Postgres. Yeah, so description is optional, but you can put it if you want. You can make it brief or you can make it very long. It depends on you. Just optional. Now, public, private. If you leave this on public, it means anyone on the internet can see this repository. If you make it private, no one can see it unless if you share it with the person. So I'm gonna make mine public because I want you guys to see my code. So if you make any mistakes, you can just come to this repository, see the code, and then compare it with what you have and debug your issues. But for yours, make it private because as we keep building this application, I'm gonna show you how to modify your own code base, how to make things a little bit different from mine, so you can add this project to your portfolio and share with potential recruiters. Yeah, so just click on private for yours, but for mine, I'm just gonna leave it on public for you. Now, you can add a README file, but you can just skip it for now, just leave it. So this is all you need to do for now. We're gonna come back to this again, and I'm gonna show you some other stuff here. So at this point, you click on create repository. So my repository has been created. This is the link. This is the link to my repository. If I send you this link, if I have made any commits, that is, if I've uploaded anything on this repository and I send you this link, you can access my code through this link. Now, when you create a repository, it gives you some code. It gives you this code. So you don't need to know this code, but you can write it down as we do. I'm not going to use exactly this code, but I'm just going to use a few of them. You can write on my own or you can copy this code. But then, whenever you create a new repository, it will always give you this code. Now, what do you need to do at this point? We've created our repository and we need to push the codes to this repository, the codes that we've built so far. So what do you have to do? Just minimize this page, open your project folder. This is your project folder, book and ride. Open your project folder. So I'm just gonna teach you how to perform this action through Visual Studio. Now, when your project folder is opened, right click on an empty space, go to open Git Bash here. Yeah, just open your project as usual, the way we've been doing. Type code dots. So it's gonna open my project on Visual Studio Code. So now my project is opened, but you don't need to use this method to open your project. You can simply open your Visual Studio Code, go to File, and click on Open Folder. Then you select your project folder, which is still gonna open it as well. Now, when your project is open, come to this three dots, go to terminal, click on new terminal. If your terminal is already open, you can simply close it, or just close all this, kill them, kill, and then I'm just gonna collapse everything. Let me click on this manage at py, go to these three dots, go to terminal and new terminal. So the first code you want to type is git init. This is the first code, one. So I type git init. That is, git init initializes a new repository on this project. If you go back to this your GitHub page, you'll see it. Git init. This is the first code. So you need to initialize this project as a GitHub repository. I'm just gonna press enter. So you see initialized empty Git repository in C users the location book and ride. Now the next code you want to type is, I'm just gonna leave this. Type git add -a, capital A. I'm just gonna put it down on this notepad. So git add -a, capital A. So press enter. So it's working. It's adding everything. Just give it some time to complete. So it's complete now. So git add -a is gonna stage all your changes. Stage all your changes. It checks for new files, modified ones, modified files, deleted files. So whenever you want to push your code to GitHub, you use git add -a. So if you've made any changes, it will prepare all those changes for your next commit. Now, it's only the first time that you need to do git init. So when you start a new project, you type git init to initialize a new repository on this your project. But subsequently, you don't need to type git init again. You just need to start from git add -a. The first time you need to do git init, subsequently you don't need to do that. Just start from git add -a, which is gonna stage all your changes. Then the third code is git commit -m, and your commit message, you need to open parentheses and you say, maybe you can just say anything. For example, now we created home page, you can say added home page. It can be anything, something that you remember the stage you were when you uploaded it. You understand? Now, so I'm gonna type it. No, it's not git commits. Git commit -m. This A is capital but M is small letter. So I'm gonna say git commit -m added homepage, and then you press enter. So it's gonna work it. While it's working, I'm just gonna take it to this GitHub account, my GitHub account now. This was the first code. Yeah, they did not add Git. There's no Git add hyphen A, but you don't need to worry. So it's a little bit different from my code, which is still gonna work. So just give it some time. So it's working. It's working. It's working now. So git commit is gonna record the changes and make sure that you put meaningful message in your commit. So whenever you want to commit, put a meaningful message to it. Now, the next code we're gonna use, we're gonna take it from the GitHub account. This one, this is it. Git remote add. So this is the fourth one. Git remote add origin. Then my GitHub account link. And this part is my repository. So if you're building a different application tomorrow and you create a repository for it, maybe the name of the repository is mobile app, for example. So this code to this point will be the same. To this point is gonna be the same, aside from this mobile app dot git. So the code is still gonna be so you say git remote add origin your GitHub account. To this point is your GitHub account, while this point is a repository you created for this application. So you need to add this code to your project because you can be working with more than one repository. So how do you specify that this code you want to push to GitHub, where is it going? So this is the code that tells GitHub that this code should be pushed to this address. Hope you understand. So I'm gonna copy it and then I'm just gonna paste it here. Git remote add origin and this link, press enter. Now the last thing you're gonna do is this code, git push -u origin main. Now the last code you're gonna put is git push origin master. So this is gonna push your entire codes, your entire projects to GitHub. So git push origin master, I simplified it. This is what GitHub says you should do. Git push -u origin main. So main is, it can be either main or master. But if you look at my code here, you can see master is showing master. When I added this URL, yeah, so it connected to this address and it's showing master. So you're gonna put git push origin master. So origin is your local PC, your local machine. Git push it from origin, this destination, to master here, which is this GitHub account. So this is a master, and then you press enter. So once you type git push origin master, it's gonna run the process, and then yeah, So yeah, it's gonna run the process and then you just give it some time to finish up the process. So once it's done, um, go to your web browser, open the GitHub account, and then just refresh this page. Refresh this page. Now, here we go. So once you refresh it, look, this is my project. See, uploaded 5 minutes ago. Book and ride. I'm just gonna open my project on VS Code so you see it. So I'll keep it side by side. Book and ride folder. This is it. Book and ride folder. env. This is it. env. Static. Static. Templates. Templates. dbsqli3. dbsqli3. Manage notes. It didn't take the media file because by default it doesn't pick media file, but I'm gonna show you how to include files and how to also exclude files. So as we progress, I'm gonna talk about git ignore files, how to ignore some folders and some files while uploading, yeah, and how to remove them from git ignore list as well. So now, when I add the link of this my project on GitHub to you, if you have any challenges whatsoever, maybe you're having an error in your code, just come to my code. You can open any of the folders, and yeah, let me just go back. So this is my VS Code, and here in templates home.html, I'm trying to write some code here. If you want to see what I've done, simply go to your GitHub, my GitHub, the link I'm gonna attach to this tutorial. You go to the particular folder. Let me collapse this. So this is a template. If you open templates, you will see home.html. Click on it. It's gonna open the code. Yeah, so if you go to let's assume book and ride, you go to views, you will see the code for views, what we've done so far. So yeah, as we progress, I'm going to show you more advanced features in GitHub and version control. So you can do the same, exactly the same thing for other projects. Maybe you want to upload your files or maybe your CV on GitHub. All you need to do is do what we've done. So if you're here, you can go back to home. To create a new repository, just go back to home, click on new, and then put in the name of the repository. Maybe for example, files. I just call it resume, for example, resume. But if there are sensitive documents, leave it on private. But for your resume, you can leave it on public. And then you click on create repository. Just the same thing all over again, what we've done. And then maybe I can create a new folder. Say new folder, and I say resume, for example. I'm just gonna add my resume to this folder. So let me assume this file is my resume. Now, what I need to do is you right click on open Git Bash here, type code dot so that it's gonna open on VS Code. But you can as well, type all your code here. Instead of on VS Code, you can just come here, do the same thing, say open Git Bash here. You can type your code git add hyphen a, exact thing that sorry, this is a new project you want to add on GitHub. So you have to say git init. So initialize empty git repository. This is exactly what we did on VS Code. So you say git add hyphen a, git commit. Now let me not commit it yet. Go to your GitHub and you copy this code. Copy this code, paste it. Okay. The limitation with typing the code here is that it doesn't paste. So you need to type this manually. You need to type this manually. I'm just gonna keep it side by side. Git remote add origin slash. So I've typed it manually. Press enter, and then you say git commit -n resume, and then you say git push origin master. It's as simple as that. This is exactly what we did on VS Code. So if you come back to your GitHub repository and press enter, refresh it. There you go. That's it. Console.txt. So your file is gonna be here. At this point, if you want to send this link to someone, simply come to this code, this section, copy this code and send it. So if this is your resume, copy this code and send it. Now, as a developer, you should learn how to use GitHub to send your resume to potential recruiters, as it's gonna show proficiency. It's gonna show that, oh, you already have skills in version control, not just on your CV, but this is practical. So if you send this link, so long as it's on public and you send this link to anybody, they're gonna see the file. So that is it. If I go back to my home, come to this hamburger menu sign, go back to home, you're gonna see all my repository here that I've created. You're gonna see everything. So let me assume I want to um, open this project, for example. So if I want to send this code to someone, whether it's code or it's files, come to this section and copy the link and send it. And then if you want to see any of the code, if I send you this link, you want to see my code, open any of this app and check whatever you want to check. So this is where I'm gonna stop this lectures for today. As we progress with building of our robust and dynamic application, we're gonna learn more on version control and you're gonna be exposed to more features. So this is just the basics and it's gonna get you started. Thank you very much. And then I'm gonna continue the tutorial series, maybe tomorrow or next tomorrow. Thank you and see you later. Bye bye.